happen when, like, we have a really, really short, like, or something right before you're by that. I don't know if you've noticed that. Or why that keeps happening.
Maybe. Could be the way it's organized.
Come on, I gotta pee.
But in that case,
Come on, I gotta pee.
if it's a really short ad like that, just wait until we come back, and then you can come back.
And I need to refresh my beverage.
Yeah, we're gonna done one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't remember things. It's difficult. What happened?
It's like, I mean, that's a small mistake, but, like, it sounds weird.
Yes, it does.
And there's no check and balances on spending. Our citizens have lost confidence in our government and their own ability to provide. Just how do you minimize this disaster in the coming months? It's simple. Change your strategy to gold. Why? Because gold works as a hedge against inflation. For a limited time, Nationwide Coins is offering you
Yeah, if it's my fault that it keeps happening, probably is. I'm sorry.
and no shipping costs.
Apologize me, man. I'm not. I don't make any decision.
You what?
I don't make any decisions. I just crack the microphone and yell at people. That's all I do.
606-1199. That's 800-606-1199. And start today.
Now the next story is going to scare you a little bit. Las Vegas, Casey. Uh-oh. Good people on both sides. Look out. I know, right? I know. It'll be in perpetuity. They will lie about what I said about that, just like they do with Trump. I know.
I mean, dude, there's no doubt if there is a badder guy in this situation, there's no question it's Russia.
Depends on who you are.
Dude, they hit a sovereign country.
Do you know why?
Yeah, because they, well, one, they want power. Two, they're trying to push back against the West. One.
There's been a war over there for years in Donbass where they asked Russia for help. And Ukraine's been slaughtering civilians for 7 years. 7 years in Donbass. I'm not saying that Russia doesn't want to control Ukraine. They do.
Yes, they do.
They absolutely want to reabsorb Ukraine. But you can't dismiss that the people of Donbass have been begging for Russia to liberate them for years.
Okay, that's an area that's very ethnically Russian. You're right about that.
Now, there's not everybody in Donbass agrees. And Donbass held a vote to leave Ukraine and be independent or go to Russia. Ukraine says that vote was illegal. Probably right. But, so Russia's kind of exploited all of that. But if they hadn't declared their independence and moved the Russians in because of what had been happening for those several years, Russia wouldn't have had an in. That's the thing.
I hear what you're saying about that, but I've never, that's the first time I've heard of them killing civilians.
It's because they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. Why would they? Azov is one of the worst military units in the entire world. They are butchers. They are absolute butchers. Now, Donbass, the DPR, has their own butchers. Spartan Battalion commits war crimes too. They both do. It's like, basically, yeah. So Ukraine, you get away from the east. Ukraine is a very modern, peaceful country. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You get on the east, it's like Israel and Palestine. It's just ugly and brutal, and everybody hates each other. And so a lot of people, when their notion of Ukraine is basically what Ukraine is everywhere else. Not all the ugliness that happens on the East Coast.
John, your fire pit and outdoor kitchen are fantastic. Who did the installation?
Fagley Landscape. Many questions, always the same answer. Fagley Landscape, bringing you personalized designs and old-world craftsmanship. Retaining walls, brick patios.
Which one am I doing again?
Outdoor kitchens and water
X-Bar.
Outdoor living space and call the certified Unilock installers at Fagley Landscape today.
Hey everybody, Casey Henderson here for X-Fog. As I've told you many, many times before, this is one of my favorite pieces of equipment in my shop because it keeps my eyes safe. And more than that, I'm able to function without having to worry about cutting a finger off or getting some fiberglass in my eye when I'm making holsters. this is just a great thing to have in your safety chest. It really is. So if you work in a factory environment and you're constantly having to remove your safety glasses to wipe the fog away or spray them down with that chemical stuff, you need X-Fog, because you'll never have to do that again. You just turn it on and it will run all day without you hearing it, without you even knowing it's there, and all you'll know is that your glasses will be fog-free and you'll be able to see and be more productive. If you're in a medical environment, if you're doing surgeries, right, nurse has to pull the safety glasses
I wonder how often they mix these up, because I've seen this before.
The nurse to wipe the glasses and things
They
like
need
that.
to add
If you
more.
got X-Fog, you don't have to worry about that. If you're in the manufacturing sector, or if you play airsoft and you have to protect your eyes, X-Fog will keep your safety.
Yeah, right now my
glasses
fan is
from
blowing the
chemical-free.
hot air out of my
This is an
wheel.
affordable
It's
product.
a good
A
thing
lot
it's
of
getting
people
a rest right
assume
now.
this thing is
It actually
$100.
needs it.
It isn't, folks. It's $70, and you get a discount with my code. Just go to xfog.com, promo code Casey, you save 10%, exfog.com, promo code Casey, and talk to your hiring managers, your supervisors, or at your favorite retailer. Tell them to get Xfog stocked in their stores or for all of your employees and coworkers so they can protect their eyes too. xfog.com, promo code Casey.
News on 95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
Now, I want you to just consider the latest thing here that we just talked about with Ukraine. The money going to Ukraine, the arms going to Ukraine, and a lot of the stuff that we're sending them is older stuff, that we're phasing out anyway. For them, it's an upgrade. For us, it's like, yeah, we got the stuff laying around, we might as well just go ahead and get it to them. But the U.S. military depends almost entirely on China for a mineral essential to the production of ammunition and other defense products, according to Defense News. This is a report that came out yesterday. The House Armed Services Committee released draft legislation on Wednesday, which would require a briefing on the antimony supply by October and a 5-year outlook on supply chain vulnerabilities. Defense News reported that the U.S. has no domestic mine for the mineral antimony, which is reportedly used in the production of night vision goggles, armor-piercing bullets, explosives, and even nuclear weapons. Cool. Guess we better find an alternative. Hey, science geeks, get on that. China in particular does a remarkable job of hoarding these materials. Massachusetts Democratic Representative Seth Moulton, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, told Defense News China clearly has a comprehensive global strategy to corner the market on these materials, and we're behind and we're playing catch-up. Now, I've been pointing this out for a long time. I know that I'm not alone. This administration and other administrations, Trump was better at this than most, but outside of Trump taking on China, the United States has just not competed with China at all. Anywhere. We've chosen not to. And China has taken up these mines all over the world, and they've bought access to these mines with free 5G and a bunch of other stuff. So they're basically going into these third world countries and they're going, oh, you don't have 5G cell phone? We'll build a 5G network. We'll give them to you for free. All you have to do is give us these mine rights for like 50 years, whatever it is. Now, there was a country here recently that kicked China out, and I immediately said, I was like, yo, I think it was a cobalt mine. I was like, we need to get in there now. They kick China out. We go in. We make a deal with them for access to cobalt, so we can still build all of our electric vehicles and things like that without having to rely on China. The Biden administration didn't do a thing. He put a judge off using his chesticles again to breastfeed his kids. Just, nothing got done. Absolutely nothing got done. So you got these mineral mines. China, people have been talking about China buying up minerals and acquiring minerals all over the world. They've been talking about it for years. These are minerals that are used for future tech. And we're either going to have to invent an alternative, or we're going to have to find a source of this stuff on our own. Does this cripple us? No, it doesn't cripple us, but I mean, armor-piercing bullets are pretty cool to have in a war. It might be nice if we had the stuff to make a lot of it.
Yeah, no kidding.
In 2020, approximately half of the antimony mined originated in China, Russia, and Tajikistan, according to Britannica. Bolton and 7 Republicans wrote to the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee in April asking for an
Encyclopedia company?
$264 million in funding for the National Defense Stockpile, a reserve of critical materials used in national emergencies. The letter claimed that in the last 30 years, Congress had authorized the sell-off of the majority of the stockpile materials. Oh, man. Wow. So we had ourselves a nice big stockpile, and for the past 30 years, you know, lawyer geeks have sold it.
Interesting. Huh. Really?
Are there alternatives? Yeah, probably. I don't know what the cost difference is. I don't know how different the manufacturing process is. You know, how does that affect our ability to make the things that we need to make for various things? But the current stockpile, this is a quote.
Really?
The current stockpile is
I can't use
inadequate
the
to meet
damn.
the requirements of great power
I
competition.
don't know what that. If that's what they mean by not compatible.
Now, I always tell you to take these reports with a grain of salt.
Most of the
because
wheel works.
The United States
The
is very,
important
very
parts
good
of the wheel
at
work.
doing this.
But
We
to
love
do shit like
to make
this,
things that we
I gotta use a controller.
It's something that we've been known for a very long time. And sometimes these reports, I wonder how true they really are. But, you know, considering everything else that we've had issues with when it comes to minerals and things like that, I do wonder if this is on the money. Defense News, I can't tell you this. Defense News is a reliable source. They're a good publication. You can generally trust anything
Hi,
they tell
Pepper.
you know,
Hello,
when you get to a
Pepper.
point where you've got defense experts saying, yeah, we had a strategic stockpile. You know, the NDS
Hi, Pepper.
was sold off
Hi.
over the past
Hi,
30
Pepper.
years.
If you want to get
So
on
we had
camera,
all
you
these
gotta go down there
materials
by my
that we just
feet.
sold it for whatever reason. It's like, okay.
Yeah. You
It's
don't get on
almost-
camera, you gotta
see,
go down
I think
here.
I've said this before.
You
It's
gotta go down there
almost
if you
like,
get on camera.
it's almost like this is
No,
planned.
camera's down there, baby. Camera's down there.
Like I said, it's usually there's an alternative. Maybe there's an alternative that works better, is cheaper, and we have plenty supply of, and we can throw a report out like this to kind of, you know, confuse our enemies. I don't know, guys. I really don't know the truth, but you have to assume that it's the worst.
Okay.
So you can prepare for the worst and then hope for the best, and then if the best ends up being the truth, then at least it'll give us an advantage in the future. But this is scary stuff. We start looking at this. You know, not
Is it
that we
locked?
necessarily need it for nuclear weapons, but you know, armor-piercing bullets, night vision. We own the night. That's
Paint colors
things that the U.S.
have
military is super proud of. We
been
own the
set.
night. Nobody else competes with the
Base
night.
design.
And
Okay.
you want to keep that advantage. Others are catching up.
And
You know,
paint
make sure you
colors.
keep that
Okay, that's
advantage.
fine.
Maybe you can't.
I want to
if you don't have
change
supplies
numbers
of
on there.
mineral. It's antimony stuff. Got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. MNC News Times 4:31.
Yeah,
Time to check
that's
out Get
that
Press
one.
Jewelry
I don't
Creations,
want
creating
to
meaningful
do something
jewelry
like that
jewels
anyway.
that last a lifetime.
I know what I want to do.
Early there, huh? It's 4:31. So it says
Make a new one.
on my clock, which may not be accurate.
I wasn't expecting you to go out that early, though. That's why I didn't bumper music. I was expecting you to wait till about.
You don't need bumper music. You can play it if you want.
You got on the spot, by the way.
On the spot.
Michigan man was arrested for allegedly shooting at and holding two people against their will. It happened at 5:30.
All right, I'm going to play the second part of that Biden thing, and I'm going to go grab myself a drink. I'll be back.
Listen to what else Biden thinks sounds corny. And I think we should just take a look at the American spirit now. I am so damn proud. It sounds corny, but I'm so proud to be an
No, you're
American.
not.
And over Memorial Day weekend, he told a bunch of Naval Academy graduates and their families that the phrase defending democracy sounds corny.
Each of you, as you go out in the world, will not only be a proud member of the Armed Forces of the United States of America,
All that white is killing my eyes, man.
our
Oh,
democracy. Sounds corny, but literally our democracy.
no, Joe, you're a
So
dick.
inspiring. And you know what else sounds corny to Joe Biden? Choosing a life of purpose.
They chose a life of purpose. Sounds corny, like a Memorial Day speech, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
No, you
Whatever
don't.
Biden says
Asshole.
sounds corny, it completely undermines the point he's trying to make. So he really needs to stop saying it. Actually, you know what would be way more helpful? For Biden to stop talking altogether.
Democracy is not perfect. It's never been good. Perfect.
So Biden's approval ratings in the toilet, thanks to record high gas prices, 40-year high inflation, and a baby formula crisis, Biden's handlers thought that it would be a great idea to once again have celebrities visit the White House. And not just any celebrities. During the final day of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, the White House brought in South Korean supergroup BTS. First, they were trotted out in front of the White House press corps.
They will join President Biden in a discussion about Asian inclusion, representation, and diversity, as well as addressing anti-Asian hate crimes and discrimination.
And considering that only 1 out of the 8 people in this photo is fluent in English, this guy right here, I'm sure that it was a very productive conversation. And while the White House is so concerned about diversity and representation, they couldn't be bothered to find actual Asians from America to participate in Asian American Heritage Month. Great messaging, idiots.
It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. Welcome to the White House. Come on up. This is an important month here in America. A lot of our Asian American friends have been subject to real discrimination. Hate only hides. When people talk about it and say how bad it is, it goes down.
So a group of famous Asians are going to convince people who hate Asian Americans to stop discriminating against Asian Americans. Got it.
People care a lot about what you say. And what you're doing is good for all people. It's not just your great talent. It's the message you communicate. It matters.
No, it doesn't. It's not going to change a damn thing.
Okay, I gotta change that. All that white is killing me.
Americans aren't going to stop doing
Way
what
too
they're
damn
doing
bright.
because Joe Biden had a photo op
Fuck.
with a South Korea boy band. Give me a break. Anyway, that's it for now. Be sure to hit that like button, check out these videos that you definitely missed, and that you're still subscribed to the channel. As always, hope to see you next time. If there is next time.
From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. Casey Hendrickson.
All right, let's get back to the important part.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Gosh, what is it? 4:30. Yeah. Well,
See, it should already be applied.
You know what? I'll do the Joe Biden stuff at 5 o'clock. I don't want to do it right now. I don't have the energy to do it right now. I don't. Every time he opens his mouth, he reiterates how dumb he is. Is it fair for me to call him as dumb as I often do? Because he's got, mental illness? I don't know. I really don't know. He's not exactly the nicest guy in the world, so I don't really care all that much. So let's talk about this story. I gave you the story before, we brought it up. There's a study out there. This study, what it did is the study came out and found a positive correlation with wearing a mask and higher death rates of COVID. Okay? Now, this is just the latest study that does this. There's a lot of studies throughout COVID that did that. There isn't any clinical trials that prove that masking works. So, bit of a flashback. We had an article that was written. The study is peer-reviewed. Correlation between mask compliance and COVID-19 outcomes in Europe. Now, there's been several others that have been done on a state-by-state basis, national basis, international basis, that sort of thing, plus just the real-world data that shows masking doesn't work, okay? But beyond that. So this was published in the Curious Journal of Medical Science, okay? Curious is a very big medical journal. They're considered prestigious in the field. And it was published there in April of this year. And it was authored by Benny Spears, an associate professor at the University of Sao Paulo. Okay? There's a lot of what I would call xenophobes who immediately dismissed it because, it's Brazil. Yeah, okay, well, yeah. If you're going to take that position, I guess, okay. You didn't accept any of the American studies, so I digress. So anyway, countries with high levels of mask compliance did not perform better than those with low mask usage. That was the study. Data from 35 European countries on morbidity, mortality, and mask usage during a 6-month period were analyzed and crossed, continued the study, which encompassed about 602 million people. Guys, big study. The findings presented in this short communication suggest that countries with high levels of mask compliance did not perform better than those with low mask usage in the 6-month period that encompassed the second European wave of COVID-19. That's basically it. The lack of a negative correlation between mask usage and COVID-19 cases and deaths suggests that the widespread use of masks at a time when an effective intervention was most needed, i.e. during the strong 2020-2021 autumn-winter peak, was not able to reduce COVID-19 transmission. It went in there to find out that, there's a correlation. There does appear to be a correlation with high mask usage and higher mortality. Now, that was what the study said. It's a study that includes 602 million people. Okay? It's not a small study. So I talked about it, other people talked about it as well, but the results for me, the big thing is the results in this study match results from other smaller studies that have been done before and even since then. So you keep having this repeated data over and over and over again. Now, if you do one study and one study alone gets one result, nobody else can duplicate it. The original study is crap. But if you continuously have separate studies being done by different entities and different people, and they're duplicating those results, they're very similar, as these studies have been, they're onto something.
Let's see what's in here again.
So this comes out. Fact checker tried to debunk this. Now, the fact checker who tried to debunk this works for PolitiFact, and PolitiFact is already problematic. You have to take everything that they say with a grain of salt because PolitiFact.
So far, I've got all of them.
So
I don't have that.
Has this individual. Her name is Gabrielle
really? I don't
Settles.
Have that?
Gabrielle Settles
no,
is
I
the
had
one
that.
that did the fact check labels. Now, what she didn't do is debunk the study.
No, I do.
At all. Which is what PolitiFact often does when they say that something is not true. So, especially if it's a political sort of thing. So if there is any kind of a fact check being done on something that would be political and PolitiFact says it's false, oftentimes when you actually read what they fact check, they didn't actually fact check what they claimed they were fact checking. And that's what she did. So there was actually an article written about this on Bongino Report making fun of her for trying to fact check this study and failing miserably at doing so. So in responding to Winter's article on the study, PolitiFact's Gabrielle Settles decided to fact check the claim that there's a positive correlation between higher mask usage and COVID-19 deaths, which again has been duplicated in multiple studies.
Yeah, we don't have a simple race
but she rated as false. Settles frames the fact check as follows, quote, the study stopped short of saying the mask caused deaths, as the post suggests. The post didn't suggest that, though. That's not what the post was about. She was fact-checking a post in the National Post. Okay, Natalie Winters is the one who wrote about this in the National Post.
There's no hot cars.
So, the title of the article was Study Finds Positive Correlation Between Higher Mask Usage and COVID-19 Deaths.
That's important
to have. Which is exactly what the study's results were.
Absolutely.
Now, the fact check on it was that the study didn't say the masks caused more deaths.
Jump out of here.
The article's writer, Natalie Winters, over at National Pulse, she never made that accusation. So the fact check was fact checking a claim that had not been made by the author of the article. But Gabrielle Settles continues on, and she then tries to fact check the study of 602 million people. And some of you are going, who is this Gabrielle Settles? Oh, we'll get there. Don't you worry. Just in case you thought she was qualified to talk about this. It wasn't Winter suggesting this, it was the study itself. But what Settles really seemed to be getting at here is that correlation is not causation. While this may sound like arguing semantics, Settle's fact check is evaluating the specific claim that there's a positive correlation between higher mask usage and COVID-19 deaths, which the study found. And now she's arguing something else entirely, whether or not there's a causal relationship. Right. The study is done. The study finds there's a correlation with higher mask usage and higher COVID-19 deaths. Not that masks caused it, just that there's a correlation there. Further investigation needs to be done, which goes back to those other research studies that are ongoing that I've told you about in the show. So PolitiFact's fact checker goes in there and says the article claimed that masks caused people to die. The article didn't claim that. The study didn't even claim that. They just found a positive correlation between those two. That's it. That's all it was. So you're fact checking, basically straw man fallacy. You're fact checking something that wasn't actually being said. You're just changing the subject. But there's an update on this story. See, the thing is like if you're going to take on the National Pulse and you're going to accuse the National Pulse of lying to you, you're going to have to deal with somebody by the name of Raheem Kassam. Raheem Kassam will rip almost anybody apart. He is really good. He is one of the few people you'll ever hear me praise that way. Raheem Kassam is not somebody you want to mess with. So if you go after one of his writers and accuse one of his writers of saying something that the writer didn't say, he's going to do a deep dive on you. And that is exactly what he did on Miss Settles. PolitiFact, air quote, fact checker, who is attempting to discredit National Pulse reporting on mask mandates and recent medical journal papers, has almost zero experience in real news reporting, medical reporting, COVID-19 reporting, or even national news. The information is the latest in a slew of fact-checker stories which reveal dubiously credentialed individuals working to remove anti-big pharma content from the internet at the behest of big tech companies and their sponsors in the pharmaceutical industry. Floridian liberal Gabrielle Settles appears to have begun working for PolitiFact in March of 2021, bylining at least 70 stories for the corporate-backed censor. Settles, however, has no experience in dealing with any of this kind of information, having performed the majority of her, quote, fact checks simply by copying and pasting from the Center for Disease Control website, and even veering off into fact-checking pictures of Christmas cards and photos of singer Rihanna. Prior to PolitiFact, Settles worked at a small St. Petersburg outfit called The Weekly Challenger, and prior to that, as an office administrator at Moody Radio. Moody Radio! I know Moody Radio!
Moody Bible Institute?
And a contributing writer at a blog called The Power Broker Magazine. The site's received almost zero web traffic. In fact, Settles' journalistic contributions are extremely limited, but naturally, her contributions to partisan rhetoric are not. The PolitiFact reporter, a job which includes no actual reporting, has a history of pro-Democrat, anti-Trump tweets. Naturally, she took umbrage with the National Pulse's story on masks and deaths, derived from two separate stories of May 16th and May 26th. Then they go on to break down how she lied about the research that was actually being promoted. So she is somebody with no background in this. This is the other thing, too. Okay, I actually have a background in science. Not a big one, but I have one in science. But I have a pretty extensive history as a science, you'd call it journalist, okay? I routinely, throughout my entire career, covered scientific research on this show. The reason that I do that is vast majority of people don't know how to read scientific research. They get it wrong, which is why you see so many people in the nightly news just quote something and believe it for no reason. So I've written several articles about, hundreds of articles about this. If you were to find any kind of a talk radio sort of position to be a scientific correspondent, scientific correspondent, I guess would be when I cover this stuff. I've been doing this for 17 years. This one has no background in doing any of this at all. None whatsoever. But she works for PolitiFact, and she is fact-checking. Okay, this woman with no credentials whatsoever is fact-checking a scientific study.
Oh, come on, stay over there.
Subjects.
That's a better line anyway, idiot.
And she's saying it's wrong. And the way that she says it's wrong is by lying about what the article and even what the study itself actually said.
Better enjoy that.
PolitiFact gets people removed from social media.
Not gonna have it much longer.
Because for a lot of people, PolitiFact is the de facto fact checker out there in the internet.
Oh, entirely. Why don't you have a sponsor?
This woman has been in media at all.
Why is my engine damaged?
Premier fact checking
It's in the back.
in the country.
Not the
It's
front.
insane. What? That tells you everything you need about the book.
My arrow should be shit right now.
Came out.
Wow, that's awkward. Wow, that looks really weird.
Somebody has no qualifications.
The angle is really steep.
You don't have that as a background. You know, but if you're going to be fact checking science,
really awkward.
I don't know, maybe have some science background. Or experience as a journalist in science. There are science.
Feels like I'm sitting up really high.
Science, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
If they don't understand terminologies that go to you.
Way above it.
This one has nothing whatsoever. She is a partisan hack with political acts of crime, and she doesn't like the national polls.
I need to see my information.
So
I
she's
can't see
active
it.
and lied about that. And in doing so, also lied about a peer-reviewed study that is published in one of the most prestigious science journals in the world.
Yeah,
Who is she?
that's
Just a
just
chick.
it.
Coming out 95 MC.
Casey Hendrickson.
I can deal with this. Can't see where it needs to go. Tired and dirty. Damn
One
it.
sheriff's department in Michigan has already spent their gas budget for the whole year.
Wow. I really like that color. That color, blue or purple, whatever it is. I really like that color a lot.
I didn't see that one yet.
How can I find out what that color is?
Oh, man. That sucks. gotta watch it. Look at that, pronounce people's names.
She's named after a dude. John Pierre's guy's name.
That reflection was badass. Oh, come on now. Really? The car's a lot wider than what I'm used to.
Alright, in my effort to secure you away from the money I'm going to tell you about another one which is beautiful. Tucson money. Okay, this is obviously stunning.
Do I need to give that? Yeah, fine.
Men mean money clips. You can carry your business cards on money clips.
Just about that.
Your credit cards on money clip. Money, whatever you want to do. Money clips are a standard EDC for men. Period. You have money clip. Your bank card is full of it. So this is hand-forged T-Rex Damascus steel. It's made by Delaware. This is a fantastic, beautiful, and truly Damascus. Damascus is beautiful anyway. When you see this, you understand how it's different than other standard forms of Damascus. It has an inlay of zinc matrix, which is Kingman turquoise, and it's got white topaz gemstones. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful piece. Would make a great gift for Father's Day, and you can only get it at Impress Jewelry Creations. Go online and take a look at the Tucson money clip. Once you get, go to ImpressJewelers.com, take a look at the men's gifts, and then go into Impress Jewelry Creations in Ranger, Indiana. Located in the City Plaza, right next to Secret Interiors. Do me a favor. Go into Impress Jewelry Creations. Make sure you let them know that I sent you.
Michiana's news channel. Breaking news at the weather station.
I'm totally kidding about you not getting yellow. Not in my budget right now, but it is beautiful. I like yellow. Plus anything's got skulls on it. Alright, since we're talking about fact checkers, allow me to do a fact check. Shall we? Pete Buttigieg. May have heard his name before around here. Pete Buttigieg says Republicans' answer to inflation is going to war with Mickey Mouse. Fake news! That fact check is false. Republicans have never once mentioned Mickey Mouse. Well, see how fact checking? They've done many more fact checks like that. Countless times. During an interview on Sunday's ABC This Week with anchor George Snuffleupagus, you're a veteran of the presidential campaign trail, and I'm alone. What's your advice to those facing voters this year in the face of those high prices? So Buttigieg responded with, the first is to recognize this is a real challenge that we are all facing and that families are feeling that pain and we're acting on it. All right, well, how? How are you acting on it, Petey? Because every time there's a crisis with the supply chain, we turn around and again, you got your testicles off in the twins. You're not actually doing your job. So what is it you're acting on? But look, the bottom line is there are two very clear and very different approaches here. There's our approach, which is to find solutions to invest in our supply chains like we're doing with the infrastructure money, certainly in my department. No, that ain't happening. Fake news. Fact check false. And then others to do everything that we can to lower costs for American families at the cost of insulin and prescription drugs. Also false. You raised the price of insulin. Trump had already lowered it. Raised it, and then you lower it again. And the people trying to go, no, this is good for people. No, actually, see, the way that it worked is that Trump's only applied to people who didn't have money to pay for the insulin. Rich people didn't get the discount. Joe Biden gave it everybody. And Joe Biden's discount is less than the discount he had under the Trump plan. So you actually pay more for insulin now for car than you did under President Trump. The heck does insulin have to do with
Fucking hot lap.
Whether you like it or not, you're the red nose. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michigan's news channel. That's Ryan Wise. Yeah. Coming up next.
WTRC FM.
Let's see about nursing another lap. You don't look that worn.
annual fuel budget already. They're halfway through the year.
Wow.
With average gas prices at well over $5 a gallon, at least one Michigan police force says that it's about to go over its fuel budget, and is now asking officers to handle whatever calls are acceptable by phone. Isabella County Sheriff's Office announced this week that it is feeling the pain at the pump that has exhausted what funds are budgeted for gasoline with several months to go for the budget reset. Wow. And that's something. Good job, Randy. Okay. Cue up my audio, please.
Oh, come on now.
Play this for you. This is Joe Biden on Jimmy Kimmel.
You idiots.
Here we are. We have the fastest growing economy in the world.
Look, he said it 3 times. I didn't edit it.
Oh,
It sounds like it's an edit. He said it 3 times. Okay. No, we don't. It contracted. Didn't grow. It contracted. So, do we have the slowest contracting economy in the world? No. Because we don't have the fastest growing economy in the world. It's not true. Let's go to this here. This is Washington Examiner. As John Adams famously said, facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations will dictate to our passions. They cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. So try as the Biden administration find, it can't change the reality that the economy is facing serious challenges under this president. I want to, you've probably already seen this, RV industry starting layoffs. The RV industry is starting layoffs. A lot of you in Elkhart know what that means. And this administration is telling, though everything is fine, it's terrible. Right? My plans have produced the strongest, fastest, most widespread economic recovery America has ever experienced. That is not true. An economy that's reopening after being artificially shut down and going back to its base is not growing economy. Joe Biden has not created a single job. There are less people working now than before COVID. Labor participation right now is less than pre-COVID. The unemployment rate is low, and it doesn't count because labor participation rate is so high. Those people are not being counted as unemployed. Remember, when you stop looking, you don't get benefits, and you don't have a job, you're no longer counted in the unemployment rate. They drop you off. That's why they gave the system. So he's lying about that. He's tweeted this out a bunch of times. I don't know the details. But it's not true. So, yeah, unemployment is 6%. Labor force participation rate still has not recovered to its pre-pandemic levels because a significant number of people who are not looking for work, and again, they are not counted in the unemployment rate. Many workers remain on the sidelines, perhaps because of dysfunctional COVID era programs, child care issues, or a number of other reasons. The economy is shrinking. It is not growing. That is a fact. GDP has dropped 1.4%. The U.S. economy has shrunk for the first time since 2020. Not growing, shrinking. Inflation is at a 40-year high. Of course, it breaks the 40-year high every month. It costs the average family more than $5,000 this year just to maintain the same standard of living as they did last year. Gas prices today, finally national average above $5. Massive labor shortage, dysfunction in big government regulations, and other issues are plaguing our supply chains and leading to shortages of essential goods such as baby formula. Baby formula that they knew about in February 2021, and they didn't know anything about it, and then they admit that they lost it. Biden himself said he didn't even hear about the baby formula thing until 14 months after the whistleblower first mentioned it.
Right up his ass.
After you factor in inflation, real wages are declining. They are not increasing, they are declining.
That's such a pretty color. I like to see that in blue.
Despite Biden's claims that his agenda has spurred job growth, we actually created fewer jobs in 2021 that were projected to create by Biden's stimulus legislation did not pass at all. He doesn't want you to know any of that stuff, does he?
Oh, shit, no, you're not going to do that.
Out of the equation. Doesn't want you to know any of that.
So much for best now.
Fastest growing economy is a lot. Just like when he said the other day that the average American family is carrying less debts than became president. That's not true.
That looks so nice.
Trillion in debt added for American households since you were sworn in. What are you talking about? Savings are not up. Savings are down. He's talking about, these savings accounts have increased. No, they haven't. They have declined. All of this data is publicly available. It's hysterical that he quotes the Fed all the time because the Fed's the one that debunks him. It's kind of like people running around and quoting the CDC for saying that gun violence is the number one killer for kids. But the CDC's own data says that it isn't. Hear my audio again. This is Joe Biden talking about gun control. All right, here we go.
Got to make sure that this becomes a non-issue.
Yeah, please do.
Especially when those issues we decide your position on the issue of senator candidate, House or Senate, on assault weapons and how bad that may have 300 rounds of magazine. And
What?
What you say on those things going to determine how much.
300 rounds in a magazine?
300 round magazine. I've never seen a 300 round magazine. Maybe they exist. I'm sure there's some crazy Russian guy in a basement somewhere that has one. I have never actually seen one. For the record, if you're talking about an AR, that's at least 15 pounds just for the magazine. Heck of a mechanism keeping that magazine, that receiver, by the way. There is one space that I see 300 round magazines on routine amount of bases. Any idea what that is?
Airsoft.
Airsoft? Yeah, Airsoft. Airsoft has these magazines that look like they're AR-15 magazines. They got guns that look like they're real guns, but they're not. They're Airsoft, and they have 300 round magazines. It's little soft babies. Yeah, they have 300 round magazines. What are you talking about? Are we back to chainsaw bayonets now?
Come on now. You can bring
300
this.
round magazine. By the
You
way,
can
if
get
you've
rid
got
of
a gun
this.
with a 300 round magazine
Yeah,
and
figure out
it's
the fuel
not
strategy.
unwieldy, I'll take one.
Why am I losing time?
Wouldn't mind having 300 round. It's always been a box or belt, but okay. Wants to be a
Alright, so
magazine,
we're at
fine.
10.
Go right ahead. Oh, here's another article today. Support for banning semi-automatic long guns is now hit an all-time low. Please make this an election issue. See, Democrats are forgetting that they disarmed police departments and they withdrew police departments while entire neighborhoods were being overrun with violent criminals who were destroying everything. You think they don't remember that? Wealthy liberals who didn't have to deal with it, they don't remember it. You know those liberals like the ESPN guy who was rooting on rioters in the neighborhood up the road, and then once they got to his neighbor, he's like, you need to stop this right now. He's on Twitter. You don't bring that to this neighborhood. You were just cheering it on over the other neighborhood, though. Suddenly, you don't like them burning communities down. Isn't that interesting? This is a new poll from a left-of-center think tank, by the way. It was released this week about the support for so-called assault weapons ban, even though they can't define what an assault weapon is hit an all-time low as Democrat politicians try to capitalize on the recent tragedy in Valley, Texas. The move to strip Americans of the Second Amendment rights is being spearheaded by Democratic former Vice President Joe Biden, who called for banning semi-automatic long guns during a speech last week. He also lied to you about what a 9mm would do to lungs, while advocating that everybody get a shotgun and just shoot through doors and windows without identifying your target. The shotgun slug will actually take the lung out of your body. While other Democrat politicians are tempered what they are seeking to get done this time. Actor Matthew McConaughey, also previously called for banning those same firearms, admitted during an interview on Fox News this week that Democrats still want to hold low for Second Amendment rights, but that they are willing to just take a slice this time. As I've told you before, banning long guns is the goal because it doesn't change the crime stats. They're not used in crimes. So because it doesn't change the crime stats, right back into the obvious, what's the crime stat? Right back into we gotta get semi-automatic everything out. And by the way, stop licking Matthew McConaughey's backside. It was I posted this yesterday. Like, Matthew McConaughey, it looks and sounds like a guy who doesn't belong at the White House. That is true. His speech was crap. Who the heck thinks that what he was saying was good? It was hot trash garbage is what it was. So Quinnipiac University found in its most recent poll that support for banning semi-automatic long guns, or ARs, others like it, was at an all-time low, and that Americans do not support limiting the number of guns that someone can own, and Americans do not expect Congress to do anything on gun control. There you go. All-time low. Please make it an election issue. Please do. Oh, I'm not done yet. Yeah, we're coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel.
Casey Hendrickson. 95.3.
This hour's business firm is a Prime Table restaurant in Niles. Over 29 years of great food and exceptional service. The Prime Table on 11th Street in Niles. Brian Kilby. It's called the gun culture because that's how we fought for freedom, and we have a Second Amendment that allows it. Australia lost it. You saw what happened, and you see what happens. They disown population when they want to take over population. And now you have people like Mike Moore and Jonah the Swede coming out and saying, hey, you know, let's take the guns away and let's undo the Second Amendment. That's their answer. The Brian Kilby Show. Weekday mornings 9 till noon. On Newstalk 95.3. Michiana's News Channel. Breaking news and weather station.
Balance of nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a musician now. And when I started testing this, I don't like this. I probably take a long time to put the money. And so when I looked at it, it's pretty much a natural element. There's some questions in my mind. I have a lot of patients. People my age, not right. And they certainly don't get
How can people 60 years and older eat right? If they can't eat anything, they have no appetite.
Start your journey to better health. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order.
Brakes just don't feel right. I gotta look back at Scotty's post. I like that one. I like that one. Ever. Pepper. Pepper. What are you calling at me for, Goofy?
God dang.
You
What a day. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're going home. The show's too good. All
Yeah, if I could. I guess I could. I'm gonna leave a note. That's okay. Oh gosh, there's more. And the rules are saving on motorcycle insurance.
Father's Day this weekend.
15 minutes, Geico could save you 15% off.
Everybody, Casey Henderson here for MyPillow.com. As I've already routinely pointed out to all of you, pretty much everybody else who is giving you their MyPillow code, if you go to the website, order off MyPillow with their code, they're already millionaires. Like, my kid is begging me for 3D printed toys because I can't afford real toys. So if you could just use my promo code when you buy anything from MyPillow, that would be great. And we supporting local children here who desperately need your support in our community. Go to MyPillow.com. Do me a favor, scroll down to the radio listener specials, and then click on the My Slippers radio listener specials. You get $90 off with promo code Casey. You won't be able to get it unless you use promo code Casey. So go there, get the slippers. Again, there's 4 layers here. You can get a couple of different styles, slip-ons, and moccasin style, multiple different colors. But these 4 layers are amazing. So we got the MyPillow patented fill, which nobody else in the market has. That's totally unique. Nobody else has got that. Then they've got memory foam, patented impact gel, and the indoor outdoor sole. So those slippers can be worn all day, every day, until you want to run. So if you wanted to wear those things as your standard shoes because they're comfy, go right ahead and do it. I may not be the best assistant in summer with sweaty feet, but you can do it if you so choose. But the best thing is if you just want to get up and laze around the house, the yard, stuff like that, you can wear these things all day long. You can even go out and get the paper or hang out outside with the dog or whatever, and you're not going to have to worry about it. They're that resilient. Very, very, very sturdy shoes. And if you take a look at the soles on these things, you'll see that they're real soles. They're not that little like glued on frilly little sole that you get from cheap slippers. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, use promo code Casey. MyPillow.com, promo code Casey.
Weather traffic during Michiana's morning news on 95.3 MNC, your breaking news and weather station.
Now, something else the former vice president did on Jimmy's Kimmel. The day after somebody showed up to Justice Kavanaugh's house to execute him, he went on there and he said, there's going to be a mini revolution in November if SCOTUS overturns Roe v. Wade. I get what he's trying to say, but I don't know, maybe the day after somebody tried to kill the Supreme Court justice because of how they thought they were going to be voting on Roe v. Wade, maybe not use that type of rhetoric when you go on a nightly show, especially considering everyone has been pointing out that your administration was allowing people and promoting people and advocating for people to go and protest outside the homes of the justices, which, by the way, is a crime. Always have to reiterate that part, ladies and gentlemen. It's illegal for you to protest outside of a Supreme Court justice's home to effect a change of decision. You cannot do that. It is a crime. And the Biden administration advocated. So the day after somebody shows up to execute one of those justices, maybe don't go on national television and say, yeah, if you overturn Roe v. Wade, there'll be a mini revolution. Looking right at you, guy who was almost executed last night by one of my supporters. Hear my audio again. Dingleberry Biden also had this to say about his political opponents.
You know, look at that. Look, Republicans don't play it square. Why do you play it square?
Lies.
You know, well, guess what? If we do the same thing they do, our democracy will literally be in jeopardy.
Alpha Delta Omicron Lambda Omicron Gamma Alpha Rho Iota Alpha Sigma Mu Omicron Pi Lambda Iota.
With somebody, you know, has go following any rules and how you ever make any progress if they're not following the rules.
Gotta get to the gym.
Jail, guys. That's why we have the disinformation war, don't we? The mental giantness of Jimmy Kimmel. I understand their point of not playing by their rules, but at the same time, like if you're playing Monopoly, I assure you. Jimmy Kimmel's the guy that lied to you all about COVID throughout all of COVID, and he lied to you about healthcare and everything else. So I mean, just take it for what it is. Jimmy Kimmel's a liar. He's not a particularly bright guy. He's a guy who hasn't been canceled for all of these sexist and racist things that he has done in his life. but he wants other people who do the same things he did in his comedic career to get canceled. That's who he is. It wasn't that long ago that Jimmy Kimmel angered the entire Asian American community because of a racist joke. Don't forget that. Still has his job, though. Not a lot of other people who would do the same joke would still have their job. Just some perspective for everybody. Let's talk about the cesspool our society is. Sydney Sweeney. I don't know who Sydney Sweeney is. She's an actress, apparently. Alright. She showed up at the MTV Movie and TV Awards. Newsflash, MTV had a Movie and TV Awards here this week, apparently. So there's that. I don't think anybody knew that. So anyway, she posted some photos on her Instagram. She's a thirst trap on Instagram. You know, she wears very revealing clothes and things like that. All that stuff. So anyway, she showed up at the MTV Movie and TV Awards, and she had a micro mini outfit. So it's a really, really small mini skirt with a slit up the side and a midriff top. Okay, so I'm perusing through the pictures for research only. I'm not enjoying this at all. So she's got her, cleavage all squished up and everything else presenting, and it's a really, really, really small skirt. She's got the big giant shoes on because women still think that's attractive for some reason. They haven't had a man in their life tell them that it's ridiculous to have giant clogs on your feet when you're not wearing many clothes. So she's out there, she's posing and showing off this very, very, very revealing outfit. All right, super revealing outfit. All right, it is. There's no doubt about it. It's a very revealing outfit. She's going to the MTV Movie and TV Awards. Some people might say that, well, that's MTV for you. That's just Hollywood for you, what have you. Some people would say that, well, there's going to be kids watching. But trust me, kids see a lot worse than this, okay? She's not wearing much, but she's more covered than most of the people that I see in music videos these days. So anyway, a Yahoo Life writer is upset about Sydney Sweeney's micro mini outfit. They're super upset. Imagine being so butthurt about somebody else's outfit, you write a whole freaking article about it. Why Sydney Sweeney's micro mini outfit feels like a threat to body positivity. Oh, this isn't like a moral angle for hey, maybe if you're gonna show up at MTV, it's for the kids, maybe not, dress like a booger. Maybe just not cover just a little for the kids, maybe do that. No, that wasn't what it was. This was a threat to body positivity. Why? Because she's attractive and she showed off her body? Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so coveted yet unachievable. Carrie Justich headlined the piece, so coveted yet unachievable. Did Sydney Sweeney achieve it? You're saying that her body is unachievable. She's a real person, has that body. It's achievable. You know what Yahoo Life has not written an article about? They're all upset about an attractive actress not wearing much clothes at an award ceremony. They haven't written a single article complaining about a guy dressed as a woman spreading his butt cheeks in front of a 5-year-old kid and accepting dollar bills in his thong. How about write that article with a moral outrage? What a backward cesspool society we live in. MNC News Time is 5:31. Go to Impress Joy Creations. Get Dad something special. Trust me, he needs it. ImpressJewelers.com.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Jason's. Jason's.
fraud. And it's all very, very convenient and very, very weird. If you ask me, it looked like it was pretty much an organized operation. You've got the fake kidnapping plot that didn't happen. It was all the FBI. If the FBI can't kidnap the government, I don't think you can. So this is just the latest example in a long line of stories that are really suspicious and involve Governor Whitmer and her Gestapo of people that are around her. And I don't use that word lightly. I really don't. I don't like throwing the Nazi references around, but as I've told you before, there's nobody more totalitarian than Governor. And I put her up against Gavin Newsom and all sorts of other people. So she removes most of the field of Republicans running against her. Not all of them, most of them. And now one of the candidates that's left has his home raided by the FBI, and he's arrested. He's charged with misdemeanors for January 6th. Right before the January 6th hearings, prime time television. Very convenient. The FBI raided the home of Michigan Republican gubernatorial candidate Brian Kelly Thursday morning. Reportedly took him into custody. Video reviewed by news outlet Bridge, Michigan, showed a man resembling Kelly being taken into a gray SUV. Chris Kelly, a relative and campaign treasurer for the Kelly campaign, said that he was aware of the Thursday morning law enforcement raid but declined further comment. David Eggert of Crane's Detroit Business also reported that Kelly had been arrested at his home. He's been released, but charged with, misdemeanors related to January 6th. Now, he admitted that he was there. He denies he went into the Capitol, but they hit him with misdemeanors anyway. But they only hit him with misdemeanors right before the hearings of right now. Now, when you consider what's been happening in Michigan, how many times have there been recall? You got to think about this. How many times have there been recall petitions? There was dozens of recall petitions to recall Governor Whitmer. None of them met the signature requirements, even though they submitted far more signatures. One of them, I think, submitted like double the requirement. And then every time there was something that came up with the recall signature, we're going to refile, we're going to fix this thing. Like, they never did refile. They just all of a sudden, like, we're not doing a recall anymore. There's a bunch of weird stuff that has happened in Michigan that points to a totalitarian-like grasp of the state. It makes me wonder, like, we had Tudor Dixon on the show. She's the candidate we've had on the show. She's still in this thing. It makes me wonder when the Gestapo and Whitmer is going to become what they're going to try and conjure up to go after. Because every single one of Gretchen Whitmer's political opponents either vanishes and disappears into obscurity, gets taken off of the ballot, or gets thrown in jail. Every single one of them. And I don't think that's a coincidence. No more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
He put Ben Davis, which makes me think it's probably me. We don't know who Ben obviously is. Davis. I don't think he knows my last name.
I'm not sure.
2.
Producer Ben.
Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. All right, let's go over this. We're going to get a bunch of propaganda over the next several days. The J6 stuff is going to be happening in prime time. One of the things that we've told you about before, but has for some reason been unveiled today as a brand new news, is that 4 days before the January 6th protest, Trump and the Pentagon offered the National Guard 20,000 troops to Washington, D.C., and the Capitol Police and Nancy Pelosi refused. So once again, the Pentagon and the Trump administration offered up to 20,000 troops because they knew there was going to be a lot of people there. And, hey, you want these troops to help secure things just in case, the crowd gets rowdy, that sort of stuff, and no. They said no. We got the text messages. We got the actual text messages of all this. And this is something we told you for a long time anyway. Hey, they were offered this stuff. They just chose not to take the National Guard. It's really difficult to have the guy that a lot of people believe is an FBI asset whispered into that other guy's face who threw the first thing through that window, who happened to be framed perfectly and videotaped by an Antifa BLM activist who later sold that footage to the news. It's kind of hard for that to happen if the National Guard is there. You can't really kick off a riot with your own assets if the National Guard is there, if that's what happened. It makes things a little bit difficult. So maybe that's why they didn't want 20,000 National Guard troops there. Maybe that's one of the reasons. I don't know. But the Republicans say that they haven't countered some of the propaganda, so look for the points and counterpoints and everything. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bill O'Reilly here, the O'Reilly Update brought to you by Glass Doctor Optical.
it's a great organization. I'm just nervous about, like, I just want to ride, like, in the back, just chill out, guys. But, I've never actually led a big old ride like that, so I'm getting kind of thrown to the wolves.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, it's nothing about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Introduce yourself to Tom.
Yes.
Set up a fundraiser by name. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work exactly. I mean, it's not myself guy. I don't think I'm doing that part of the stuff, Grandmaster stuff. Yeah, so that was Jack Del Rio, man, former coach of Jacksonville. He's with Washington now. He was 100% right, too. 100% right. Yeah, he did the right a few times. Cool.
Alright, I'm gonna record this voice down here.
Alright, folks, I'm gonna bounce. Let him get his work done and take off. I'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, don't release on Friday, so we'll be back here at 3 o'clock. And take care.
Bye,
Second. No mistakes. Alright, so I got the clean race bonus in second. I'm paying catch up on some sleep. And the laws this weekend. First time in how many years it's going to be on TV in its entirety on Motor Prem. TV. I watch it so often I can't tell you what the channel number is. But glad they've got the rights to the 24 hours of Le Mans in its entirety. As far as tomorrow, I don't know. Yeah. Let's get some sleep. So, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for sharing.